Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a topic that, well, it sits right at this strange intersection of metaphysics, consciousness, and almost data analysis.
It really
We're
does.
talking about the concept of starseeds, these supposedly non-terrestrial consciousnesses that have chosen to incarnate here on Earth.
It's an incredible topic, and our source material today is, I'd say, highly unusual. We're doing a deep dive not just into the starseed idea itself, but into the reliability of the methods used to even get this kind of information.
That's the mission, right? We have two sources. Source one is this really extensive transcript from an investigative hypnosis session.
Mm-hmm.
It focuses on these individuals, their origins, their, physical limits, their intentions. But then there's source two.
And that's the crucial part.
Exactly. It gives us the lens we need. It's a critical analysis of the hypnosis methodology itself, telling us how much weight we should actually put on these extraordinary claims.
Precisely. Before we dive into what they're claiming about, cosmic consciousness, we have to look at the container the information arrived in.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're dealing with information that's supposedly coming from the deep subconscious of a subject. So according to the practitioners themselves, how reliable is it? How good is the data from just one session?
Well, it forces us to use extreme caution. The meta-analysis is quite clear on this. Information from a single session is considered highly contaminated, distorted. They estimate the percentage of genuinely useful, non-contaminated data can be as low as 2 or 3%.
Wow, okay, that is an immense amount of noise. If you're only getting a 3% signal, what's causing the other 97% of interference?
There are two main culprits. First, you have the information itself. It's traveling across dimensions, densities, passing through all these different consciousnesses.
Like a cosmic game of telephone.
That's a perfect way to put it. But maybe the more impactful thing is the personal filter of the subject. Yes, exactly. The subject's own mental structure, their culture, their education, their expectations, even, past life experiences. It all acts as this massive personal filter.
So the consciousness is trying to process this vast, multidimensional information, but it's immediately translating it through a completely biased dictionary of human experience.
That's it. They're trying to talk about universal truth, but they only have human words, and their personal history just warps the message before it even comes out.
It reminds me of, trying to explain something complex in English to someone who only speaks Mandarin. But on top of that, their nonverbal cues for yes and no are inverted.
That's the analogy used in the source, and it's perfect. It shows the information gets warped by both the journey and the receiver's own biases.
So that's why you can't rely on one session.
You can't. Real investigation requires multiplying sessions. We're talking potentially thousands, and they only accept features that are consistent across a huge majority of them as, robust.
So the incredible findings we're about to get into, we have to treat them not as fact, but as a fascinating vehicle toward understanding a problem.
A vehicle. I like that.
Well, let's buckle up in that vehicle, because the claims about how a non-terrestrial consciousness actually gets into a human body, they're wild.
They are. The core requirement, the absolute must-have for a non-terrestrial consciousness to embody a human, is an energetic match. A perfect one.
An energetic match.
Yes. The source describes it as an agreement or a symbiosis. It even likens it quite vividly to a fungus and a tree relying on each other.
Okay, but why is that match so critical? Why can't some advanced entity just, shove itself into any available body?
Because it would destroy the body. The entity has to find an identical energetic system to the one it wants to inhabit. If it's incompatible, the physical body just experiences massive disharmony.
So you'd get what?
Severe physical dysfunction, handicaps, or just a life that's not viable. The physical structure is designed for terrestrial energy. It just can't handle an incompatible foreign blueprint.
Which takes us right to their blueprint, their etheric DNA. How is this different from the DNA we know?
It's described with 3 really powerful words: modulable, multiple, and hybrid.
Okay, let's break that down.
It means it has this inherent advanced ability to evolve based on experience. It can attach to or sort of integrate with other types of consciousness. It reinforces that whole symbiotic need.
So it's not rigid, it's constantly updating and learning. But here's the thing that gets me, the major constraint. If this etheric DNA is so powerful, what stops it from completely overwhelming the physical body?
That's the key. That's the mechanism of constraint. The power of the etheric DNA is described as immense. It just develops vast amounts of information and power very quickly.
So to avoid a total system overload.
Exactly. To stop a mental or physical breakdown, only a partial transmission of that information is allowed to pass from the etheric to the physical DNA.
They're intentionally throttling their own capabilities.
Precisely. This partial transfer is the secret to stability. Its whole purpose is to maintain the body's anchoring in our terrestrial reality.
It's like you have this massive broadband fiber connection delivering gigabytes of universal knowledge.
Right.
But you're trying to run it through an old copper phone line from the 80s. You have to throttle the signal or you'll just fry the modem.
That's it. The physical body is that copper wire, and the consciousness has to dial the signal way down just to keep itself grounded here.
Fascinating. So moving beyond the body, when the subject was asked about the Starseed Collective, they immediately saw this communication channel. What did that look like?
They saw a luminous canal, a channel that looked like a very long, very complex artery or a vein.
And this is how they communicate across dimensions.
It's their primary bridge connecting different spacetimes, different planes. But the information wasn't just instantaneous, it was something more.
More than instant.
It was described as being previsional. All of spacetime is present and mixed together in this canal. Past, present, potential futures, they all coexist. The operator doing the hypnosis could just randomly pull out data points, like the genetic code of a giraffe or seeing a flower decay because of contamination.
A universal library of all experience. But here's the part of the session that really stood out to me. The part that connects the cosmic right back to the personal. This luminous artery of information. Where did the operator ultimately see it?
After seeing it as this grand external tunnel, the operator suddenly realized the artery was located inside a human body.
Inside a human body.
Yes. They described it as the circulatory system of an androgynous, nude figure just lying down.
That one realization just completely recontextualizes everything, doesn't it? It suggests all this universal previsional information is already inside the human system. The cosmic library isn't out there.
It's within our own anatomy. It flips the whole paradigm of looking for external guidance on its head. Now, about the actual starseeds who are supposedly here, this session identified a very small, very specific group.
How small are we talking?
A few hundred. That's the term they used. Strategically incarnated and dispersed across every continent, operating as this silent, connected network.
A few hundred. That implies a very specialized mission. What are their characteristics? How would you spot one?
They're described as being profoundly linear, which means their mental, emotional, and physical bodies are unusually balanced, stable.
Great.
They have this strange combination of strong empathy, but also profound conviction. They aren't flashy, they aren't trying to be gurus, they just have this quiet assurance and sensitivity, and apparently they're very, very difficult to destabilize psychologically. They are grounded.
Let's get to their intention. The source outlines 2 layers to their ambition. What's the first one, the more visible goal?
The first layer is that they're sowers. They're here to be catalysts, triggers.
The butterfly effect.
Exactly. Creating small but significant movements in the collective consciousness. They want to raise human awareness on critical issues, social injustice, environmental stuff, not by preaching, but just by demonstrating reality in a way that forces a reaction in people.
They're the quiet force that starts the change.
Okay.
And what about that second, deeper layer? The harvesters.
This is the other side of the coin, the symbiotic exchange. The deeper intention is absolutely to take the knowledge. They are, and this is a quote, veritable information captors.
What kind of information?
Everything. Terrestrial data, human psychology, animal data, vegetal data, all of it. And they use it to perpetually modify their own DNA.
That sounds like data farming on a cosmic scale.
Right.
What's the end goal of constantly modifying their own DNA?
Total cosmic adaptability, that's the prize. They're seeking the ability to enter and thrive in any cosmic or multidimensional reality, no matter the density or space-time. This constant adjustment is, for them, a vital movement that ensures their conscious survival.
So Earth is a giant, vital data reservoir for their own expansion, a giving and taking relationship.
That's the model. But, and this is a huge but, the source material gives a really necessary warning. This whole concept, it's being exploited.
Exploited by whom?
By other interfering consciousnesses. The source confirms that other entities, reptilians are mentioned, but not exclusively, they exploit the positive, benign image of the starseed. They use the idea to find vulnerabilities in people and then establish what the source calls a contractualization to feed off their energy.
And what makes someone vulnerable to that specific kind of interference?
It targets people who carry too much hope and expectation that's projected outward. Hope for saviors, for some external cosmic force to come and rescue them.
I see.
This projection creates a kind of psychological gap, a misalignment between their anchor in reality and their desire for an outside fix. The interferers exploit that gap by offering a false contract, capitalizing on that belief.
So the original insight points inward. The artery is inside us. But the belief system that's grown around the idea can be used by others to make us look outward, which creates the vulnerability. That's a critical distinction for you to consider.
It's a profound counterpoint, isn't it? The core starseed energy the session accessed was supposedly one of gentle curiosity, just encouraging people to question themselves. The interferers, on the other hand, are purely predatory.
This has been a really complex deep dive, navigating the duality between, the power of our internal resources and the external temptation of easy salvation.
And what's fascinating is the final takeaway, the final feeling of the entire investigation. Despite all this cosmic complexity, it was characterized by douceur.
A kind of gentleness.
A gentleness, yes. A feeling of equilibrium and profound anchoring. This stability, even in the middle of all these multidimensional concepts, suggests there's a fundamental calm at the core of true awareness.
Which brings us full circle. If the ultimate critical goal of these highly advanced entities is to be in complete adaptability across all realities, and yet they are forced to transmit only partial information into a physical body just to ensure anchoring, just to stay grounded, what does that suggest about the fundamental, unshakable power of our own terrestrial reality and the profound stabilizing anchor that we already possess? And it seems the very thing they're striving for is maybe what we're all trying to escape.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us.